Welcome back to the Unpro Show. I am Rob. I'm here with Tyler today to recap the first week of NFL football. Tyler, welcome back to the Unpro Show.
Oh, thank you. What a pleasure. It's good to be back. Good to have football back. Thank you so much.
Fantastic to have football back. We're going to get into a ton of the things that happened this week, but before that, are you unpro? Are you somebody with creative energy, but you don't have a place to properly channel it? Do you have creative content ideas, but you don't have the skills necessary to create them? Are you trying to stand out in an industry that is overcrowded or nearly impossible to stand out in? Do you want to be on this show or a show just like it? Tell us about it. Link in bio. Are you unpro? No credentials needed. So the way that I'm going to try to do this, just to lead off the show, is to start with the top 5 teams right now after this week. And this might change. Ideally, it would change unless we're geniuses. And these top 5 will stay the same all season. And then we're going to talk about all of their games. I think all 5 of these teams had very exciting games for the most part. So I think we start at the top. I don't know if you have any arguments with me here at number 1 in the Unpro top 5. It's the Chiefs. I don't really see any team that got better than them in at least the
I
first
will
week.
have Chiefs as the best team in the NFL until they're eliminated.
I feel like that's pretty fair. I mean, I think they
Yeah.
actually look better than they looked last year. And
Yeah,
the
which is
Ravens
sad.
also looked very good. Like that was an exciting game, like literally lost by a toe, like a legendary all-time game.
Wear white
Uh,
cleats.
Wear white cleats wouldn't have mattered because then you wouldn't have seen any green in there. It was a stupid, stupid thing for Patrick Mahomes to say. Um,
Wear green and white cleats.
there you go. You just have a tiny bit of green at the toe. That's actually how you should. That's actually a good idea. Uh,
That's
but yeah, I don't really see anyone unseating them. Like even if they lose a close game, I don't even know if I'd bump them off the one line. If they lose to any of these other teams in the top 5, if they lose to like the Broncos or the Raiders, maybe I'd bump them down a little bit. But I guess that's probably not going to happen.
yeah. I think I like your number 2. I mean, it's the Super Bowl matchup. The Niners. I mean, they're just probably the
Mhm.
best overall team, like
Yeah,
just roster wise.
it's
Uh,
it's
like
also
two
just
to
the same
53.
exact team. Like nothing
Yeah,
changed about this team. It's literally they
yeah.
brought everybody back.
Just
They brought
they got
Ayuk
paid
back
more.
finally. Yeah, they're really expensive now. And I guess what I guess we've proven that you don't need CMC. You can just throw out just a running back, and they're going to dominate
Yeah,
the entire game because you get to run behind Trent Williams, who
yeah.
just is so big, and he still moves well because when he's 36, and he still moves really well at 36, which blows my mind.
Or is
Miles
Mason the
Sanders,
next coming of CMC?
except I don't know if he can catch like
Yeah,
CMC.
well.
I don't think we saw him catch a ball. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. Um, the only thing I'll say about that is the Niners drafted a 4th round rookie, Isaac Guerrero, something like that. Isaac
hmm
Guerrero. I don't remember his exact name. And he had like 1 carry the entire game. Why does that guy not get a look? They're up by like 13 or 14 late. Let's just give him a couple of carries here, just the last couple drives. Let's just see what we got in this rookie. Like, why are you running Jordan Mason into the ground week 1? What's the point in doing that?
I feel like that's just Shanahan. He's always just weird with running backs, and
He really
he's like, "This is
is.
my guy. I'm riding with him." So
That's exactly what it is. But
until
they all
like
end up
half
getting hurt.
until like Thursday, he's like, "Actually, this is my guy now. I'm gonna ride with him until the wheels fall off."
Who was it was Elijah Mitchell was already out for the year because he got
Yeah,
ran to
well,
the ground in
yeah.
the preseason.
Was he out for the year or was he just IR?
I think he's out for the year. I think he like has some kind of weird Achilles thing. Maybe I just made that up completely. I have no idea what
Okay,
happened,
well, I'll
but
have to
something
check on that
happened
because I
to
just
him.
put him on my IR on fantasy, and so I'm just gonna keep him there all year. So that's a good thing. I'll check on that actually.
So we got the Niners at number 2 because they basically beat up on the Jets. The Jets were confusing. Do you have anything to say about the Jets before we move on? Just Aaron Rodgers looked good for like a drive, and then horrible for a drive, and then good for a drive, and then they lost.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's just I kind of hate watching the Jets, so I'm I enjoyed it. It was good watching Aaron Rodgers play a full game. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was, and what he only threw for like 180 yards or something like that. Like he didn't really do a whole lot.
But a lot of the quarterbacks this year, like or this
It
week
was
rather,
just really
did
weird. I think in
yeah,
general, I think they showed it in the Monday night game. It was like 190 yards per game was the
yeah, it was
average across
wild.
the whole league. It was like the lowest in a really long time. Uh, but I think this isn't tying into the top 5 teams. This is just something that I want to talk about. Why is nobody playing in the preseason anymore? Like everybody looked horrendous this week, and I think that's those two things have to correlate. Nobody had any reps. And then we're going to try to, let's just go ahead and roll out all these like first and second year quarterbacks that don't have any reps. And then shockingly, passing numbers were down. I mean, it'll probably change, but it was just a sloppy week of football.
Shout out to Manning on the Manning cast yelling at Ayuk. That's why you signed the contract early. It's good. I like there's always on the Manning cast. He's always like a little bit gets him back like he's actually on the sideline. He's like, what the hell are we doing? And you're like, hey man, you're just telecasting. We're all right.
Yeah, because I didn't see the clip. I just heard about it. Is he just in his basement still?
I mean, or is it just
basement?
an actual studio that they're like, hey, let's make it look like a basement?
I think I think I've seen videos of him. They set up a studio in his basement before.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to go anywhere for Monday night. He just gets to like do it from his basement.
God bless him. That's the life right there.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, moving into the number 3 team here. Number 3, the Sunday night football game. We had the Lions at number 3. They look really, really good. Their secondary kind of got carved up a little bit by Stafford, but I mean Stafford was cooking on a crazy level. It's just him and Cooper Kupp got in that weird space where they're just going to do whatever they want, and the Lions still won that game. So they look better than they looked last year, in my opinion, and they looked really good last year.
Yeah, the Lions are scary. They're my team to go to the Super Bowl.
There you go.
And then lose to the Chiefs. But I mean, they're going to be so good just because they play every game indoors. And I think do they add anyone over on the offseason, or are they just like the 49ers?
They added a bunch of guys in the secondary. They drafted Terrion Arnold, and they traded for or signed Carlton Davis, who was the number 1 corner in Tampa. So they added 2 decent corners in my mind. And I believe Alex Anzalone's new, the guy that just was absolutely dogging that first drive. He had like 2 tackles for loss in the first drive. That's the defense looked better than it did last year. Yeah. The offense is going to be the same. Also, big shout out to my boy Jameson Williams. Oh man, I was sitting on that guy for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to continue. The fact that he took all of Amon-Ra's targets pretty much was kind of enjoyable to me.
Was Josh Reynolds holding J-Mo back? We got to ask these questions.
I think he was. Everyone was like, oh, Josh Reynolds leaves. Is this Lions offense going to be good? I don't know. I mean, that dude had 1,500 yards in college in a season. I feel like he might be able to figure this one out.
Yeah. The 4th team is like, so I guess his top 5 teams, all the teams are good, right? But the Eagles, I think, there was like some worry about, Jalen Allen, Jalen Hurts. That'd be a great quarterback.
He would be a pretty good quarterback. It would pretty much just be Josh Allen. I don't think Hurts adds anything to Josh Allen that Josh Allen does.
Just a higher squat max.
That's pretty much all it is, yeah.
Yeah. And like, with the line, Jason Kelce leaving, but it looks like there's no flaws, and then it looks like they're just moving the ball well again. I'm pretty bullish on the Eagles.
I think it's Kellen Moore. Like they're actually scheming guys open now, which is a crazy concept. Where pretty much last year was just, hey, AJ Brown, go ahead and win this 1-on-1, and we'll throw you the ball. And then shockingly, that just fell apart at the end of the season, and they stopped winning games. Yeah. The only thing was, I think the tush push is finally dead. I think it was Kelce. I think that's what it was. I don't think it was Hurts somewhat, but they messed that up a couple of times. So hopefully that thing's dead and we don't have to worry about it anymore. Because
just
it was fun for a year, but like I don't even want to keep doing the tush push forever. It's just exhausting.
Yeah.
And also it's great to see the Packers, because everyone was like, "Oh, Packers sneaky Super Bowl contenders." I mean, I'm not gonna say that they're still not, but we're gonna have to try the Malik Willis experiment for a little bit. All you Packers fans out there get to see what a quarterback like that looks like. Get a little experience.
It's not fun, is it?
What's the saying? It's not so fun when the rabbit has the gun.
Yeah.
Malik Willis.
Yeah.
There you go.
The jokes are mean now, aren't they? They hurt.
Though they were also very much in that game. And their defense was pretty good for a little bit and then kind of fell apart towards the end. But I think it's just because Saquon adds an element to that offense they never had. Like he's like an actual good running back, which is crazy. Like if you have a good offensive line and a good running back, you can run the ball, which is a wild
Who'd have thought?
I know. And then number 5 here, I feel like there's a lot of teams that could be at this number 5 spot, but I think we both agreed to go with the Texans here. I think you were a little iffy. I was in on the Texans. It's mostly just because Joe Mixon looked like a real NFL running back. They can run the ball now. You gave CJ Stroud a run game, and now this offense looks good. I don't totally know how good the Colts defense was. I don't know if that's like a fluke or whatever it was. And the fact that the Colts put up a lot of points against them, maybe that's Anthony Richardson just being a freak, which he is a freak.
Yeah.
Uh, or maybe the Texans secondary isn't as good as we thought. But yeah.
Yeah. I guess Diggs the ball early to give him 2 touchdowns, which I think
Mhm.
is just to keep him chill for the season.
It's to keep him chill for a week. I think you have to not incorporate him early so his expectations don't get too high. Because I think Stephon Diggs now thinks he's going to score 36 touchdowns this year. He's like, all right, I'm going to get 2 a game, and I'm just going to roll this whole season with 2 touchdowns a game. I feel like he might think like that.
I thought they were going to do is just get him there, like, hey, there you go, your stats. Now we're going to cycle it through, calm me down, and then every like fourth week, here you go, we'll step at you again.
Here's a few more touchdowns.
Yeah,
If you can consistently keep giving him 2 touchdown games every once in a while, he'll probably be fine, and he'll
yeah,
just keep doing what he does. But it is something that I want to watch is does that actually start to affect CJ? Because we've seen it affect quarterbacks before. When you bring in like a big name receiver that needs targets, sometimes it makes them worse, where
yeah,
they just like feel like they have to force feed this guy. Like what it happened a little bit. Like at first, it elevated Josh Allen, and then it was hurting Josh Allen.
mm-hmm.
And the other one I was thinking of was when Devontae Adams went to Derek Carr. Like I feel like Derek
Yeah,
Carr kind of stopped spreading the ball around. He was just force feeding Devontae Adams. It's like
yeah.
he was a worse quarterback. It was just changed the way the offense was. So there you
And
go.
now
That
we
is your
got
top five. Let us know if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if you think someone else should be in there. Um, but yeah, that's I feel like that's a pretty solid five. All those teams could win, and I don't think anybody would be that surprised. So
yeah,
I
like
think
we talked about like the Bills, which they can,
mhm,
but they still like got to figure out some things on offense. The Dolphins, I wouldn't put there because I want
yeah,
to see them win when it's cold.
yeah, and like we
And
didn't want to put at least personally, I didn't want to put any teams that lost week 1 on there. So I had the Ravens out just because they're 0-1.
yeah,
So like they're not there. Oh, and also just before we move on to the next one, the NFC North, there's a one team in last place. One team does not have a win. And
yeah,
it's the Packers. Let's go
hate
ahead
to
and
see
bask in
it.
that glory.
Hate to see it.
Let's go ahead and bask in that. Last place. All right.
Only good as your record.
All right. So speaking of team that's only as good as their record. So this is something that I'm gonna try to do every week. And we're going to crown a team that is, quote, out of the race. And what you're trying to get sponsored by Trivago. This is the Trivago mentally in
Can't.
Cancun team. They're just done. They're not coming
Yeah,
back. They're not going to the Super Bowl. If this team does win the Super Bowl, we're going to do a punishment. The one that I'm thinking of doing is shaving their logo into my head, which I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if my job
yeah,
would like that. I don't know if
yeah.
you
That's
like,
what
what do
I'm
you
not going to
do?
do that because I do have to go to the job next Monday morning. So, but I mean, hey, man, that's you, man.
So we'll see. I'm also going to make many more of these picks than Tyler is. There's a chance that happens. I'm not 100% going to say that's the punishment, but that's the one that's at the front of my brain right now. So if
What if we get a
Travago wants to
tattoo of
pay for
Roger
that, though,
Goodell?
if Travago wants to pay for that haircut, I will do it. But
What if you get a picture tattoo of Trivago? We get them to sponsor it.
I'm not. I'm really not going to do that.
Why? Trivago, reach out to us. Robert will get a
Or
tattoo of your logo.
we're going to go with Kayak, who's the other one. That's like the same thing.
Yeah, really, any travel agency that wants to get a tattooed, will tattoo you.
All right, but so this is the out of the race team. This team will not win the Super Bowl, guaranteed 100%. The Carolina Panthers, already dead, already so dead. They died. Everyone was kind of high on them. They died so fast. They died on one play. The moment Rashid Shaheed got open and caught that touchdown, it was just over. Like there's like shoot, we're doing this again, and now it's going to be another 18 weeks of just horrible football in Carolina.
It is fun that like you can get like they're almost like the White Sox prices to go to the games now.
That's
That
so sad.
every other stadium sells out and all the merchandise is rising. Literally everything is just right and north for charts for NFL teams. I guess it'd be this way for
There you
recording.
go.
And then there's like the Panthers are an MLB franchise that already gave
Yeah,
up on playoff hopes.
it's crazy
Crazy.
how bad that went. Because
Yeah.
the Saints, I thought the Saints were not a good football team going into this, and I'm still not going to say the Saints are this all worldly awesome football team. They're just significantly better than the Panthers. Like the
Yeah.
Panthers just don't care. They don't want to try. Their defense is really, really bad. And at what point, because everyone was like, oh, it's all the support around Bryce. CJ was better because he had all of this support. CJ didn't have a ton of support last year. And Bryce, at some point, is he just not very good? I mean, first throw is a pick. First throw of the season's a pick. So
Gotta get it out
I
of the
don't know.
way. And then your third
I
pick.
think there's going to be many more to come, unfortunately for
His
Bryce.
third throw was also a pick, I'm pretty sure. So
It's
yeah.
just, I guess what at some point Jonathan Brooks will come and he'll maybe fix things as a rookie running
No,
back,
no.
and maybe Dave Canales turns this thing around. But we're saying that's actually not going to happen because they are out of the race. I mean, you can't get
Yeah.
dogged by the Saints like that. Like the Saints are not a good football team, and you guys
Over
got it.
under 3.5 wins.
They won 2 last year. I would say they won 3, 4. I
Okay.
don't think
Well,
so.
3.5.
Yeah,
Three and a half.
that was a good line. I
Yeah.
would go under.
Yeah. Probably. I don't
I
know.
think I took him
It
over
seems like it's
five and
going
a
to get
half.
bad.
I,
What?
I think I took him over 5.5 like 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy. Was it plus a billion?
It's like plus 106.
That's highway robbery. The plus 106 and win 6 games. Jesus.
I thought the Saints were bad, and then I learned that that's just not the case.
They
Uh,
still could be. It's just you're
well, they
playing.
could just be significantly better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
At least week 1. All right, so those are the 2 things that I think we're going to try to do every single week. So these are just, we're going to go into some stories of the week. And I think the thing that I wanted to lead with is just some more bad play. And it's
Mm.
that Will Levis and Daniel Jones threw horrendous pick sixes to lose games. Will Levis is a little bit worse. I mean, legitimately threw the ball just to the Bears. It was like, here, just go ahead and return this. And I think Daniel Jones just can't see linebackers. He threw it just right to him on like his own 5. So just 2 horrendous plays.
Will Levis also had just a great fall on your knees
Yeah.
when he threw the
It's
pick. So that
pretty
makes
good.
his a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just because it's a glorious photo.
What
Uh,
I think it was is their coach is Brian Callahan, and he said, yeah, if we just punted every single time, we would have won that game.
except we blocked a punt for a touchdown. But yeah.
Also true, also true. But
Yeah.
he's also
So
what even if we had that blocked punt and they didn't throw the pick six, they would have won that game. He's thinking about it. It's because the Bears offense didn't do anything.
no, the Bears offense was bad, but they're worse, so I don't want to hear it.
They are worse. They are worse.
Yeah.
100% they are worse. You can't argue because at least Caleb didn't give a bunch of points to the Titans.
Yeah.
He didn't give any points for the Bears, but didn't give any
Exactly.
points.
Yeah, he's a net neutral.
It was exactly in that neutral. He just scores no points. No one gets any points when Caleb Williams is on the field.
Yeah. He almost had a touchdown to Keenan Allen, but
That's true.
that's not.
Yeah, I'm not out on Caleb Williams after 1 week. I
I am
think
still he's
yeah.
still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, it might be aggressive. But talk about a little bit about Will Levis. What is going on with Daniel Jones? Does he just not? Does he just want to like just disappear? Is he just like doing this for the money? Like
I
what
mean,
is like,
160
what's
million
going
is
on?
nice. I'd embarrass my playing the sport you love and getting paid 160 million. And
Yeah, but I know that because the Giants can get out of the contract next year, but if he gets hurt, then he automatically gets locked in for 25 mil next year if he
yeah,
ends up on season-ending IR.
the
So
rust treatment.
yes, so Danny might try to get hurt.
Let
It
Danny cook.
just hurt enough, like late in the season, to get on season-ending IR, and that way he
Yeah.
can get 25 mil next year guaranteed.
Well, there'd be like him having like a decapitated leg. They're like, I think you can still run some snaps. I don't
Running
know.
quarterback draws, just
Yeah.
can't move.
Alex Smith was out there. I think you can do it too.
Uh, I guess my question to Giants fans is: do you miss Danny? Do you miss Tommy DeVito at all?
He's still there.
Yeah, I think he's around.
Yeah, he's still the backup. So you'll get some Tommy in you.
I think it's more
You can't
fun.
do it this
It's at
early.
least more
You gotta.
fun. Yeah,
You can't do it this early. You gotta really just indulge in the sadness,
I,
and
a
then you're
little
like,
bit.
even if this guy's bad, at least he's fun bad. But
Yeah,
you can't just switch.
Yeah,
You got a couple of weeks of just like we're terrible, and then you're like, well, I don't care, just something fun and bad.
just yeah. Because it's like maybe he does something cool. Daniel Jones
Yeah,
is not going to do anything cool other than like run around for a while and then just throw the ball just right at some linebacker, just right to his chest. I mean, Lynn Jamie threw the ball to him, which that's what I think he was a top 10 pick. I think people kind of forget about that. That he was picked really high, and he was not any good in
yeah.
college. I don't know. It was from the jump that wasn't going to work.
Who would draft a quarterback from North Carolina that wasn't fully proven yet. Oh God, what a
I don't
bad
know. I
decision.
don't know anyone that would do that,
Yeah,
especially not like even higher than that, like not in the top two.
yeah, like a top
Um,
three pick. Ugh.
nah, it's crazy. All right, so moving on to, I think this is one of the games that I was very excited going into to watch, and then just didn't really like nothing happened, and that was the Falcons Steelers game. It was just like kind of underwhelming on both sides. Like it was watching Justin Fields play football again, which I think we all remember that Justin Fields sometimes pretty cool, sometimes just like doesn't throw the ball, and Kirk was disappointing. I would say that's a pretty decent statement for it. He was rusty, just kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it might not be good, and but they got Michael Penix, so maybe they should just do the Tommy DeVito. Or like, hey, maybe
Maybe.
this isn't going to be good. Except
Uh,
theirs is a way higher happiness level.
Well, yeah, yeah, but it's you have to ride Kirk out a while. You have to see if he figures
Yeah,
it out. I mean,
you got
100%
to
he was
ride
kind of
Kirk.
rusty. I
Yeah,
don't know if he was still kind of injured because of the Achilles, but he legitimately could not move. It also just might be the fact that TJ Watt's just coming right at his face, so he might just
yeah,
like not look like he's moving because TJ Watt's so much faster than him.
yeah,
But he looked legitimately immobile, like he could not move at all, which I feel like that kind of matters a little bit.
yeah. You should
Um,
move in a sport.
you would think like especially
Yeah,
with all like if you look at the best quarterbacks now they all can move around pretty well.
they also
Uh,
can throw off both their legs, which he
Also
can't
true.
use his legs. So
Um, the only thing was Kirk Cousins historically is one of the best play action passing quarterbacks that there is, and they ran the least amount of play action this week. So I don't know if
can't
that's
move.
just a mistake. I don't know what that is. They also have Bijan, so you guys can run play action. You guys can play under center and run play action. It makes me think that he might like still be hurt because he can't even take drops. If that's the case, like if he can't take 3 to 5 step drops, that
Yeah,
means
GG.
they can't play under center, which means that they can't use Kirk Cousins. So I don't know. You gave him a lot of money, so hopefully you
Yeah.
can figure that out.
How many years is it? 3?
It's I think it's technically 4, but you can get out after 2.
Okay.
Uh, so speaking of things that kind of went weird and wrong, what happened in Cincinnati? The Patriots just go in there and just they don't dominate the game, but they beat them.
Is it maybe having players, practice be a good thing again?
Maybe,
Having
maybe,
a quarterback that doesn't have like the weirdest wrist injury of all time, and
yeah,
then coping with it by dyeing his hair, and then but they're always like slow. I feel like
yeah.
and the
It
Joe
happens every
Barrett.
year, but I think at some point it would be nice if it just didn't happen. It'd be
Well,
nice
maybe
if they
yeah.
just got out to a nice 1-0 start.
And every year they try to squeeze into the playoffs. Maybe if you just were good in the beginning, you wouldn't have to do that.
Crazy. It's a wild
Yeah,
concept. You should talk to the Chiefs. Um,
I mean,
I mean, like I said, you're not going to be out on Cincinnati, but the fact that it was at home against a team that a lot of people were saying is going to be the worst team in the NFL this year, I guess what? Good for the Patriots. Good for Gerard Mayo. Good for Jacoby Brissett. Ramondre Stevenson just turned into a good running back again.
shout out to
I
Gonzalez. Was it Christian Gonzalez?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
was going to win like defensive rookie of the year.
mhm,
They got injured, and he's
mhm.
still again just a lockdown. He like I think covered like the top 15 receivers. He's covered like 6 or 7 of them, and
I
all of them
yeah.
under crazy amount of yards.
I think he was the last pick by Belichick. He was like the last gift to Patriots fans was Christian
Okay,
Gonzalez because I think he was really really high on him if I remember that pick right. Like they
yeah.
traded up or they reached for him because they really liked him, and he does look really. He looks like a really good NFL corner.
Hmm.
Um, and there's one more thing I wanted to do about the Patriots. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Do you have anything else about that game? That game was just weird. It was just like, oh, it
Yeah.
was that if Cincinnati can't stop the Patriots from running the ball, who can they stop from running the ball? Because it's not like they're this all-worldly great offensive line that's going to destroy you and get a bunch of yards. Like if Cincinnati had to play like a good running team, like if they had to play like the Lions or the Niners, they might just get wrecked by
Oh,
like 40
they're just
points.
gonna yeah. Or versus like the Chargers, Harbaugh
Oh
boys.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I want to
That
see that. Do they play? I hope so. That'd be. I'll watch that game like 3 times.
what because if you look at 3 of our top 5 teams, the Niners, Lions, and Eagles all have amazing offensive lines and can run the ball.
The
And
Chiefs have good line. Like
yeah, like they're not the same running caliber, probably just because they have Mahomes, so it's not as necessary. But they
yeah,
did a decent amount last year.
yeah.
But those teams can just if they can run all over Cincinnati, then they're going to get in these weird games with really really high scores, and it's just basically going to come down to can Joe Burrow throw like 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, which would be a lot of
Do
fun
you
to
think?
watch. I mean, I'm all for that if that's the case, but he's got to be able to do it.
Do you think at any point people are going to turn on the Joe Cool narrative. Joe Burrow's the best and the coolest, and maybe he's like, hey, maybe he's just a good quarterback and not a top 5 elite quarterback.
It might happen, but I don't know if Joe will let it happen because I feel like he'll just have a random game where he's just going to go out and cook for like 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and then it's going to be like back on, oh, Joe Burrow's elite. So I feel like he'll just have enough of those performances. Like once T. Higgins comes back, once Jamar looks better, they're going to have a game against like a subpar team where they're just going to light him up.
I feel like the narrative's already starting to brew where Joe Burrow can't be good without 3 top number 1 receivers. I saw that on Twitter a little bit. So I feel like there's maybe a momentum is switching to turn on Josh Allen because everyone loves turning on quarterbacks as soon as they show a glimpse of not being the best thing ever.
I think people would flip on Zach Taylor before they'd flip on Burrow.
I think Joe Burrow doing more of the like
because he like comes in with the dyed hair and
stuff.
Everything. Yeah, that's true. I guess he's drawing a lot of attention to himself. Yeah,
like Zach Taylor will be fired first, like won't be paid, but people will just be mean on Twitter to Joe Burrow first.
Makes sense.
It's basically where I'm going.
All right, and this last one you had, you could introduce because I'm split on this.
The Cardinals are good. They're going to be a fun team. They're going to be I think one of the most fun teams in the NFL to watch. Not like playoff good and move the ball, but they're going to be a fun offense to watch. Kyler's going to be great. Marvin Harrison, if he has a route tree other than just running deep, will be fun. I think it'll be a good time. I think the Cardinals are going to be a fun red zone team.
I would agree with that. I would agree that they're going to be a fun team. Is Kyler going to be great? I don't know because literally that in that entire game, if his first read wasn't there, he would just start panicking and running around. And sometimes he would get like 13 or 14 yards, and sometimes he would just not. He would maybe get a yard or maybe get sacked or maybe throw the ball away. So I feel like he's got to maybe learn how to go through some progressions. And let's just go ahead and use Marvin. Let's just, like, guys invested pretty heavily into this really good receiver. Let's go ahead and try to use that guy. I feel like it might take him a sec just to get used to the NFL thing. Because if you look at like the top receivers now, it took them a couple of games. Like I don't remember Justin or Jamar. I think Jamar actually had an amazing first game. I think he actually was incredible.
But like Justin Jefferson was like a second half. Odell was a second half of the season rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually
I think that's kind of what you have to expect from him. Where he's not going to be amazing right off the bat. I think a lot of people expected that. I was in the boat of Marvin's just going to be the best receiver in the league off the bat. That's just not how it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you see like the guys that are going to be like the next levels, like Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison. You're just like give them a second half and they'll show.
The one who's going to be good right away is Malik because he's just going to draw like a 40% target share of all Daniel Jones passes. So it's pretty much a 20 probably about a 20% target share because about half the passes will just go way over his head. Or to
Neighbors DeVito connection will be magical.
What who's the top quarterback next year? Quinn Ewers as of right now?
Or Shadur? Carson Beck.
That's not
Carson Beck.
I don't. I think it's Ewers. I think it's if I had to pick one right now, I'd pick Ewers. So
is Cam Ward available?
Who?
Cam Ward, is he draft eligible?
I think he's draft eligible. I don't know if I want Cam Ward though.
I could just see him having a crazy like Jane Daniels Heisman season.
Oh yeah, where he plays himself into one of those picks. Yeah. No, that's possible. But I think to get one of those picks, you probably have to make a trade. And speaking of trades, so this is something that I think I don't know if we're gonna do this every week. I think it's just gonna be something we're gonna do for fun. We're gonna be grading fantasy trades that I find online that people post about, hey, should I accept this or not accept this or whatever it is. And some of them are pretty funny. So this first one is in a 10-team Dynasty Superflex half PPR league. I'm just going to let you know what the leagues are. I'm going to put the trade up here. It is 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick for Jameson Williams. Jameson had a really good game, but man, it feels like a really, really steep price to pay. If you offered him the week before this for Jameson Williams, you would have had to pay way less than that. Like 3 picks for a guy who had one game over 100 yards is insane to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just definitely take the draft picks. I don't know if we have to like rate.
Just take the picks. I mean, I guess the thing is though, it's really hard to sell right now on Jameson if you have him. You're like, oh, he might be amazing. It was week 1. Like he might just be a Monra. Like you might have just worked your way into like a top 5 fantasy receiver, or you might not have. So I guess that's why you take the picks.
it being dynasty as well, though, like if Ben Johnson leaves next year and everything, like I can see it just regressing in the
Yeah.
future.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty bullish. Hey, maybe just get a lot of draft capital.
Or yeah. The only thing is you might be able to get even more. Now you're not going to get more than 2 first round picks and a second
No,
round pick.
I
That's
mean
insane.
unless he's ungodly. No.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. All right, moving on to this next one. This is just it's an interesting one. We were talking about the Cardinals a little bit. I'm curious what you think about this. This is a 16 Dynasty Superflex PPR, so I guess everyone's team is just stacked. And this is Trevor Lawrence and Amon-Ra St. Brown for Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray, the old Cardinals stack. Who would you rather have out of those two?
Oh, easy. I'd rather have the stack because it's six man. Every team's going to be good. So you just
Yeah,
have
it's
to have
true.
week winning performances, and if you can get a super stack, because like also I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a top six. I guess super flex
So top
top
12.
six. Yeah, but fantasy quarterback. I mean, maybe it's top
He's like
12,
right
but
around 12. Yeah,
yeah. So like Kyler Murray's a top six fantasy quarterback.
sometimes.
So yeah. Well, I think with the rushing, he will be.
By the end of
Um,
the year, probably. It's just that, like,
yeah,
I feel like this is week winning or also week losing potential because it was definitely week losing potential this week. As somebody
yeah,
who has a Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison stack, I lost. Mostly because those guys were a bunch of idiots and wouldn't throw the ball to each other. So I would probably still take it just because I have it. Uh,
yeah. No, you definitely
but
should.
I think Amon Ra is by far the best player in that trade. I guess actually we'll see because he had a bad week. All right. And this is the
We're
last one
not.
over here. This is just the funniest trade that I saw.
I'm just reading all the draft picks. Jesus.
This is 6 first round draft picks for Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey. This is just basically like, at what point do you just say, hey, this is enough draft picks for me just to completely rebuild and just trade the two best players in fantasy pretty much for that?
It's one of those things like it depends on your team,
Yeah.
100%. But it's almost one of those things where like having like I guess they're all like, over 3 years. Because we're gonna say if it
Yeah.
was like three in the first,
It's two
three in
picks
one
a
year,
year.
yeah,
No, wait, it's
two, two, one.
yeah, there's three in 2026.
Yeah, see, like
Yeah.
it's just too. I feel like that's too many like draft
Yeah.
picks where you're just like, are you gonna keep all three guys or?
Yeah, yeah, just like yeah, it's also when you're having that many picks, at some point one of them is not going to be good. I guess like that's just a
Like
statistical thing.
I would have asked for some of those draft picks in like 28 when Tyreek and Christian McCaffrey are gone, and that team will be
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I
Then
was
I would have
thinking
gotten the
like
draft picks.
by 2027, if Christian McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill are still like top 5 fantasy players, then the guy that got the trade won. The guy that got the
Yeah,
players won. But if they're not, then the guy that got the picks won. I guess
yeah,
it also just depends if you win. If you add Tyreek Hill and McCaffrey, then you win this year. That's
yeah.
also part of it.
If you win the league, it doesn't really matter, right?
And the only thing that I think about with picks is future draft picks cannot get hurt. Nothing bad can happen to a
Very
future
true.
draft pick. So like something could happen to these guys. Like Christian McCaffrey's already been hurt. Nothing's going to happen to your 2027 first round pick. He's completely fine right now. Nothing can
Yeah,
happen to that guy.
he's the
So
greatest thing since sliced bread.
pretty much. So there you go. There was your grades, and then we're just going to do a quick week 2 preview here right at the end. We kind of work together with this. We have a parlay. This is going to be our parlay of the week 2 parlay, talking about these 3 games in particular. First one is Saints at Cowboys. Cowboys -6.5. That's our first lock there of our parlay. Any thoughts about this one and why we picked it?
Yeah, I like it. I think a lot of people are believing the Saints, and then what
Yeah,
time is the game? Do you know?
I think it's at noon.
That's good. I don't want a
Yeah,
primetime Cowboys game.
yeah,
That's
I don't
when
want
we would
another
get
one either.
crushed. Hide it. Get the 7. Get out of
Hmm.
there.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like people are riding a little bit too high on the Saints. The Cowboys just scored like 30 points in the Browns. Browns defense a little bit better than the Saints defense. So I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably going to be a little bit of a blowout in that one. Next one we have is Colts at Packers. Took the under 40.5. I think the Malik Willis experiment doesn't yield a whole lot of points. But he came in with one job to throw a Hail Mary and he got sacked. So,
Maybe
I guess we'll see how it goes.
Anthony Richardson might just drop 40, and that's the only way we lose.
Anthony Richardson's going to drop 39. He can be 39 to
Yeah.
nothing. Well, no, the only thing is the Packers defense is good. I think like they didn't get hurt. So I think
No.
that they're going to be there. Richardson had a crazy game last week. I feel like he's going to be really up and down. This might be a down week for Richardson. the Packers are literally going to score like 4 or 5 points. I don't know why I said that. 3 or 6 points. There you go. 4 or 5 points. We're going to have another double safety game.
I'm guessing 5.
5. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not going to do anything, I would think, just because I don't trust Malik Willis. And then our last pick in the parlay is the Niners at the Vikings. The Niners -6. If McCaffrey's hurt, it doesn't matter. Clearly, like we learned that on Monday night. The Jets are such a better football team than the Vikings, and we're giving them less points. I don't understand that. They won by 13.
It feels weird. It feels like they're enticing us that we don't know something.
They're like, oh, it's Sam Darnold. You guys don't understand. It's Sam Darnold.
You're so bump. Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know why it's only 6 though. This is what scares me. But I'm going to pick the 49ers too. Yeah.
If this is a push and the parlay doesn't hit, I'd be quite sad.
That'd be wild.
But I feel like the Niners by a touchdown feels right. It just feels right to me. It's just like take the good teams and the teams that outperform. Like the Vikings played the Giants. Like we know that the Vikings are good. They played the Giants, guys. There's like that's basically what I'm looking at. The Saints beat the Panthers and the Vikings beat the Giants. They're not that good. But we know that Cowboys and Niners are much better teams than the teams they played last week. Huh?
The New York Slayers.
The Slayers?
Yeah.
Why? What is that?
They both beat New York teams.
So here's the parlay as a whole. It is plus 601, $20 wins 140. I think it's a pretty good parlay. So if you want to go ahead and throw that in there, it's pretty sneaky nice. All right, and this is how we're going to wrap it up this week. We're going to put up or shut up on one of these games for next week. We are both disagreeing on one of these games. It is the Rams and the Cardinals, and I guess you can just go from there.
Yeah, I'm picking my fun team.
There you go.
Yeah, I gotta ride my team. I think I'm just gonna be like a Cardinals fan this year, as I'm just talking it out. I think I'm gonna ride with the Cardinals. It's gonna be fun. Probably the bet would have been bet the over, but whatever. We'll ride.
The fun bet is to bet the over. But I guess what we're going ahead in this. I'm taking the Rams. The Rams look pretty good against the Lions. I feel like they're going to get their first win of the season. Cardinals dropped to 0-2 in another really fun, close, exciting game. That's my thought process for it. Right now, because I do have the MHJ Kyler stack, would you trade me Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase for Kyler and Marvin?
I think I would because I'm a Cardinals stan now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So if we have to talk off air and do it, I might have to, but whatever.
Because apparently we just got stacks on stacks.
Yeah, Stack City.
And then so this is probably how we're going to lead the show next week. Bears Texans. I'm so excited. I'm actually excited. What if the Bears win this game? What if the Bears wins?
Super Bowl contention.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Bears are plus 6.5. So they're projecting us to lose.
I will get scary thoughts if we beat this team and our offense looks competent.
In Houston, if it's because the offense, if like we win like 27 to like 24 or something like that, oh my goodness. I'm gonna be fired up. 2-0, and if the Packers lose again, 0-2.
Gosh, I think the world ended and we're just living in a dream state.
We have a good quarterback. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy if that actually happens. So I'm very, very excited for that game. I mean, Sunday Night Football, everybody will be watching that. It's probably one of the highest rated games, at least in Chicago, all season. I feel like the entire city of Chicago has been watching that game. Because it's just going to be so exciting. In Houston, get ready for it next week. But that is our week 1 recap, week 2 preview. I'm going to be trying to do something similar to this just about every single week. So I'll have you back on pretty much when you want to come back on. You don't have to do it every week because it's a lot to do it every week. So do you have anything else before we wrap this up?
Thank you so much for having me, Robert.
Okay. I don't know why you got to do it like that. I don't know why. But there you go. That is what we got. As always, best roast gets $5, and we'll see y'all next week.
Still doing that. Oh, Trivago, sponsor us.
Please.
Robert will do a tattoo for you guys.